Toshio, Toshio, what are you doing? I've got a fun trick to show you. It's called skip bombing. Have you ever tried it? Every now and then, and going for naval targets is one of those times. You just want to mix things up. So I just came here for the boats, but a bow fighter decided to engage me. So we let him know that we were ready to play. He zooms up past us, and just for fun, I'm shooting at him here with the defensive gunners. What do you know? Pilot snipe. That's always nice. Every now and then the B-25 gets lucky. And you'll see me do something here in a second that is called skidding. And according to, oh geez, what was his name? Saburo Sakai. This is the best defensive maneuver that a bomber can pull off. You pull hard rudder in one direction and hard aileron in the opposite. And you see me doing that again. Oh! And another lucky pilot snipe. We're having a good day. And that skid can often help you get out of the way of enemy fire, and it doesn't throw off your gunners too much. So, skip bombing, that's what this episode's about. Forget the skid for now. Now we're taking out the Black Widow, and our first bomb drop. Pull away sharply. These bombs are going to go off soon. Bing. Now let's see, we have another two 1,000-pound bombs. These ones are closer in on the wings, which will make our accuracy even better. You might have noticed from my approach angle that I set myself up for a wide bomb spread on that destroyer, and it worked out for us. More about that later. But for now I'm setting up my second attack run, and I'm feeling the pressure from the anti-aircraft fire of these destroyers. Tonight, anti-aircraft fire has been a big problem for me. I've been trying new things. And we pull away, and the bombs miss the destroyer, but don't worry, they did hit a target. My bombardier, who I guess is the gunner on this plane, said direct hit. He was congratulating me on blowing out my own tail control, I suppose. Sarcasm, not at all lacking in this game. Alright, time for another match. Now normally we would call this the Dauntless Dive Bomber, but wait, is it a Dauntless? It's a Douglas, I know that, but today his name is Skip. And you'll see that our first skip bomb, oh, what did I tell you about anti-aircraft fire? Our first skip bomb hit the target, but did not destroy him. Looks like it detonated in the water. And you want a direct skin-on hit with these bombs against naval targets. So, here we go again, and we get clipped by the mast, but we pick up a kill. So, that's not the kind of result you normally want from a match, but tonight, we're just having fun. Okay, we've learned a few things. You want your bombs to hit the target, you don't want your plane to hit the target, and you don't want your bombs to hit the plane. Now, if this sounds like it's somewhat complicated, unnecessary, and not rewarding, well, you're probably right. But it's different, and that makes it fun. And tonight, I just feel like being goofy. So we're on Norway, and there's a destroyer Palooza up ahead. We ditch our bombs pretty early, and using keyboard controls, we pull up and to the right sharply. We're zooming away when we get our first kill and a second. And when was the last time you got a double kill on destroyers in the Black Widow? It's pretty nice. So again, this is just something you do for fun, and you should try skip bombing. It's an absolute blast, and it's pretty easy to pull off, but hard to master. Now that we've seen some practical application in-game, and again, I think skip bombing is mostly for fun, let's see exactly how to skip bomb. So we've taken out the Wyvern with 500-pound bombs, and first question, are 500-pound bombs enough to destroy an enemy boat? In realistic battles with actual naval forces, I think this may be the case. However, you're about to see, there's our first run, pull away, switch to bomb cam, or I guess not switch to bomb cam. 3 clear hits directly on the skin of the enemy craft, and they failed to destroy a destroyer. So, should you use 500-pound bombs against enemy shipping? I wouldn't recommend them for any hard targets unless you have quite a few. I would recommend at least 1,000-pound bombs, or 500 kilo, as it were. A single 1,000-pound bomb can destroy a destroyer, and I have yet to test exactly what the limits of its destructive potential are, but I would consider a 1,000-pound bomb fairly reliable if it has direct contact with the enemy vessel. Here's our second run. We drop in a broadside, and you'll see that the bombs bounce high enough to even bounce over a destroyer if you don't time it right. And that second volley, which would be of course impossible in ARB, was enough to take out the destroyer. But again, we're just demonstrating things now. And since we're talking about the mechanics of skip bombing, you want to drop to as low an altitude as possible. You want to keep your speed up. You're going to need that in your exit. You want to drop your bombs when you're around 300 meters, that's 0.3 kilometers from your target, or as close as possible. You want to leave yourself enough room to escape, and here we're dropping the bombs from around 80 meters just to demonstrate that they will sink immediately if you drop them above that height or at around that height. Here we are on the deck. Once again, we drop our bombs, and here we're demonstrating distance to target. So you saw about how far we were from the destroyer, about 1 kilometer, and they made it maybe halfway there, maybe a bit less. So 0.3 kilometers or so would seem to be appropriate. Now another clip. We're coming in for our attack run, nice and low, and your plane is going to want to climb in a turn, so be sure to drop down to the deck again if you're turning close into your target. And here we're attacking head on. Drop our bombs, pull up, and boom, direct hits. But once again, you will need to have bigger than 500 pounders. So we're now loaded up with 1,000-pound bombs to demonstrate what effect that has. The first drop will drop the ones on the wings, and the second drop will drop the single 1,000-pounder on the belly, if you're not familiar with the weapons layout of the Wyvern. Similar to the P-47, we drop our two 1,000-pounders, perfect skip bombing. That would be right in his ammo rack in a PvP, which is coming, so keep that in mind. And another aspect of PvP, flying low may help you to be stealthy in realistic, where your plane is not marked. However, skip bombing will bring you very close to the enemy craft, so keep that in mind. Now we're lining up our next bomb. Many airplanes in this game will be able to take multiple passes with skip bombing, so that is a huge advantage, especially for things like the B-25, which is not really feasible as a dive bomber, at least in my opinion, and which performs defensively much better at a low altitude than it would do in dive bombing attacks. So we line up straight with the ship. This one lands on the turret, and could you imagine the destruction that would cause? It looks like the collision models for ships in War Thunder, at least AI ships, are still not perfect, but they've been very much improved since back in the day when bombs used to pass right through them all the time. And how does skip bombing compare with dive bombing? Well, here you can take a look. We dive bombed at close range, got a hit with, I think that was both 1,000-pound bombs, destroying the target. And once again, there used to be in War Thunder, before naval forces was really worked on and naval AI was updated, a propensity for bombs to pass through enemy ships from the top when you were dive bombing, especially if you had a bomb delay. And it's very dangerous, to say the least, to dive bomb with 1,000-pound bombs without a bomb delay. But we're getting altitude now. We have one more 1,000-pound bomb, and we're just going to demonstrate what it's like to dive bomb from a reasonable tactical dive bombing position. This is just to compare with skip bombing. Now, not every aircraft is capable of dive bombing, so that's something to keep in mind. The previously mentioned B-25J, not recommended as a dive bomber since it has an internal bomb bay. It's not set up to drop bombs from a sharp angle, and the plane itself would not handle reliably in those conditions anyway. I wouldn't recommend it. However, the Wyvern is designed to be a dive bomber, at least in the game. I'm not at all familiar with its actual intention in real life. It probably was. So here we're easily able to gain altitude, another fantastic aspect of the Wyvern. This is a fantastic strike aircraft. You really have quite a lot of options when you're flying this thing. So we're watching the smoke of our target vessel to tell which direction they're churning and how fast. We've noticed they're moving rather rapidly, and we're lining ourselves up, drop down hard, and the plane is going to want to roll over, but don't let it. Let the bombs away at around 1,000 meters. We hit amidships, and the bomb sticks to the target and explodes nicely. Not bad.